Security cameras have been installed in the meeting room for visual recording for security purposes only. Members of the public could be recording the meeting. With that, we'll say the pledge. Pledging allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, thank you all for coming. We'll start with any amendments to the agenda. From anyone. Okay, there's no amendments. We'll move on to opening comments. The zoning hearing was held on September 25th. Ed, you want to have any words about that?
Sure. So the reason for the hearing is there's a property located the corner of Ziegler and Muntz Road. They wanted to build a pole building for car storage, and the issue was that because it's a corner lot, the wording of the ordinance, our ordinance would say that they cannot build an accessory structure in the rear yard because of the corner lot. So the concern behind that was because of restricting the site at an intersection. The applicant came in with drawings of the yard, the site distances and everything. He has 1.6 acres. He also owned a lot behind that, but even if he combined the two lots, it would be considered a corner lot. He could not put a building anywhere on that. So in the end, they did grant the variance allowing him to build the building. If you have any questions, I can try to answer them, but that's really about what it came down to.
It was an odd situation, I think, because it was an extremely large piece of ground. It wasn't like a small lot. If you looked at the drawings, it made sense to do it.
Right. The comment was made that if he had owned all of the property on Muntz Road, because it would be considered a rear yard in a corner lot, he could not build a building. So that was the reasoning behind the variance being granted.
I've asked Jack, who is the chairman of the zoning hearing board, that he ought to come to one of our meetings and we ought to discuss that, both corner lots and rear and front yard interpretation. And he said he would do that, but he hasn't come by yet. So
It's come up a couple times now in the hearings we've had, so they did kind of express the interest in reviewing some of those, so I think it will happen, just probably a matter of time.
what's Jack's last name?
Harding.
Jack Hardy, yeah. Okay. We gotta send him a memo and ask him to tell us when he can come before the board to discuss those issues. I talked to him on the phone, he said he was gonna do it, so he's probably been tied up. Okay, any questions for Ed? Okay, being none, let's move on to public comment. Anybody who wants to speak, we've got 3 minutes. No comments? I was notified by Alex, I believe. He does want to come in and talk about a rewording, I guess, of the ordinance for landscaping.
That's
So,
correct. Yep.
at some time, we're gonna have him, come in and do that for us. Actually, for him.
It's
For us
for all,
to-
it's for the benefit of the community, it's not just me.
Okay, so we'll do that someday. Nobody else wanna speak? If they don't, we'll move on to the minutes. to approve the minutes of September 19th. You all have a copy? Any comments? If there's no comments, we need to approve.
I'll make a motion to approve the September 19th, 2024 minutes.
Okay,
I'll second.
second by Jenny. Any questions? No questions, all in favor, signify by saying aye. Thank you. Okay, we got a pre-application for the Tooch subdivision. Is anyone here from Tooch? Okay, you wanna tell us what would like to do down there? Over there, wherever it's at?
Well, our property is right now a little about 2 acres. Where my dad passed away about a year ago now, so he owned the property right behind me. We're gonna move down to the property bound, his property, and I'm separating the line. I'm just moving the line up. So we're taking an acre, almost an acre, maybe half an acre up.
You wanna stand up by any chance? I'm having a hard time hearing you.
Just wanna move the property line, basically.
The property you wanna eliminate the line on, is there anything currently on that property? A house?
The piece of property that's in between that I'm gonna move,
Well, I'm not sure which one you're gonna move to.
well, I own them both, so I'm just moving the line.
So there's nothing on that property, on that field. There's nothing wrong
Why,
with it.
I mean, he's taking it away from this and giving it to
Yeah,
the house.
I'm agreeing with it. I'm trying to figure out how to ask the question, because there's no names here. Who owns?
I own them both.
You own the property with a gravel driveway,
Yes.
okay? And that gravel drive, does that go all the way through, or does that only go to the first house?
Well, there's two driveways, one that comes up the whole length of that property along the 20 acres. It goes clear down to Levi Road.
Yeah, that's a big driveway.
Yeah, and that's why I have 20-foot, which I need anyway. There's a utility easement. So there always has been a 30-foot, so I shrunk it down to 20-foot. So there'll be a right-of-way utility plus easement, ingress and egress, that'll go along the property. It should be already there, but I changed it to a 20-foot. It goes out to the Fiesel Road.
That's the one up there,
The upper one.
and that's an asphalt lane.
That's just actually no lane.
On
Yeah.
the plan, it says asphalt lane. So that goes out to Fiesel.
Yeah, there's an asphalt at the that goes down to Nicholson's, or it's Hoses. So goes from the Fiesel Road and goes down all the way to Hoses. So it goes, I think it's 40-foot, 40-foot right away. Mine turns into a driveway that goes down to the house, and it's just gravel. It's right between me and the school property.
That might be why I'm having a hard time understanding it, because there's no names on here. There should be at least a name on that first property that has a gravel drive to.
Yeah, mine has gravel.
It says right on the top middle to the right, Freeman Area School District.
Yeah, but the asphalt drive goes out to,
There's an asphalt that goes the long drive down it coming off of Levi.
that's off of Lodi.
That one is asphalt that goes up, but it doesn't go the whole way. It goes up to the top of the hill.
So if you're coming down the asphalt driveway, on the right-hand side would be Moore's, correct?
No, that's the other driveway. That's off of Fiesel Road.
Correct.
Yeah, that one is asphalt, coming all the way between me and Moore's.
And Moore's is,
Between me and Moore's.
correct, yeah, then you know,
Yeah.
there you go.
Which side is Moore's on?
If you're coming down the asphalt driveway, he's on the right. So you'd be right on the curve.
Moore is on the right. How you spell that?
Moore.
And just to be sure, the asphalt lane is an unnamed.
It's a private lane.
Private
It's not
lane.
an owned township lane.
And how big is the Moore property?
I don't actually know how big Moore's property is.
Well, it's not, again, there's no name on it. Normally, you have to put the name of the property that surrounds the area that you're subdividing. And then you would have the property line where it's at. How big is it?
This one here is Freedom Area School District.
So over here, it is.
Yeah, well, all the way over.
I don't know that. He just told me that's more
Is that on
property.
the right, coming down?
Coming down the lane on the right,
On
that's
the
Moore.
right, okay, I put it on the wrong side. That has to be put on there.
So Moore is on one side of asphalt lane, Freedom Area School District is on the other side.
Yep, and then you hit. Mr.
Well, it's
Duke's
actually a
crossing.
bend, so there's a 90-degree, it's 90-degree bend right there. So you have the school, and then you have Moore's.
So I have a question for you. Are you familiar with the drawing we're looking at right now?
I looked at the newer drawing. I
Just
have
so,
it now.
because we don't have a bend in the asphalt lane, we have this much of that, so.
Yeah,
we
but
don't wanna-
it is a straight lane.
Okay.
So if you're coming straight down the road, right past the school, you'd be going straight in.
Okay, you
Yeah.
wouldn't take the turn.
You wouldn't take the turn. Yeah, and then Moore's is, you make the bend and then there's Moore's, but
Kinda
yeah.
looks like that.
I got you, yep,
It's on that 90-degree bend on Fazell Road.
okay, gotcha. All right, so you're looking at moving the line,
The line is between the 20 acres and my house. It's nowhere, it's not even near, Moore's house.
your road, the length of your property right now is 519.98 feet, right?
I think that's what it'll be when it's,
That's, yeah, that's.
when it's moved.
That's the
Right
right
now it's like-
That's where, oh, okay,
If you look, here's the old line for that property.
Yeah.
He used to come to here.
Oh,
He's
I'm
taken
sorry.
away
I
from
thought
this.
he was going this way.
No,
He's
I
actually
just wanna,
going-
yeah, I just
adding
wanna
to
move,
this.
yeah.
So he's
Just wanna
creating
move the
this
line up,
Okay,
Is he
Yeah.
creating this line?
Yeah.
like 350 feet.
Okay.
That's all I wanna do is move the line
This.
and shrink the road.
So he's adding this much to this property.
Correct.
He already owns this property.
He owns both sides. So yes.
Yeah. And this property has a house on it.
okay.
It has a driveway to it.
This is something
This is approximate septic here.
that. These houses? This one
This
was
is,
that.
here's a septic here for this.
Okay, all right.
So someone living in the house on the existing property.
Yeah.
And you're the owner of both properties.
I own both.
And the new property would be 1.3 acres, correct?
Yes, yeah, so it'll still be an acre.
So why are you adding a 20-foot easement from ingress to egress?
I wasn't adding it, I shrunk it. It used to be 30 feet. I I made it 20 feet, because I didn't figure I needed an extra, I mean, I want it, so in winter, you see how long the other driveway is, and it's steep. So in the winter, and it's already a utility easement, because it has, the electric line is on the pole, on my property, on the upper property, on Fiesel Road. So it's already on that corner between me and the school. So there's already a utility easement that goes back to the 20 acres. It's already there. So there has to be utility easement anyway. So I wanted egress and ingress, so in winter, it gets bad sometimes in winter, not lately, but I've lived there
I
long
can
enough to,
imagine.
I've been lived there long enough to know that there's no way I'm gonna get down through the woods. So I need at least a 20-foot right of way to get out and in the winter.
How big is the Moore property and where does it end?
Well, Moore's is across the road on the upper part.
I see that.
Yeah, I don't know how big their property is.
And how big is the Hosa property then, that is below it?
Hoses, well, there's two houses below. Hoses next to me, I think is 5, maybe 6 acres.
What I'm trying to see is where's the property line at the end of your property for the properties that surround you? I would assume the Moore property and the Hosa property surround you.
Yeah, the Moore property is on the, up across the road with a driveway that goes,
Does that go to just down to the end of your property?
the driveway goes all the way, actually, that was put in for Mr. Nicholson when he lived
I
there.
see that.
So, so it goes all the way back to the house that's in the back.
So
And
do you
then
think-
I just come off of that driveway into my driveway, which is gravel, right between me and the school.
Yeah, but does the Moore property go to the end of that driveway, existing driveway?
I don't believe so. I think it goes back partially, and I think they own across the road down there. But I'm not 100% sure what they own.
Okay, well, one thing, you have to add the Moore property in the, tax numbers on this.
All right?
That's one thing.
Well, when he does it, it's all in the old. I wish I would have brought the old map. It would have given you all the information.
Well,
This is, because it has it all on there.
Yeah, we have to have it all on there.
All right.
And then, you're saying the Freedom School property goes all the way to the asphalt lane.
Yeah, the
And
Freedom.
they have that on here, and they have the tax number on here.
Mhm.
Then you have the Hosa property, it's below you on this, the way I'm looking at it. And that has the tax number, so that's okay. The Hosa goes all the way down. And then over here, you have the Casey Byers. His property goes all the ways out to 989. And his number's on there, the tax number. And above that is the Scott and Mary Herzog.
So that's feasible. This is Moore, and this is Jose. So Moore stops right there at that line. And this is that 191, is that?
There's another house after Hosa,
Yeah, there's another one.
They're both.
street back there.
Oh, okay, I see. This is the gravel lot. Okay, there's 195, that's his property.
That maybe we need to turn it this way. I'm just asking, I don't
Well,
know.
well.
I'm trying to get it so I
Yeah,
understand
it
it.
is. That right there, this is Freedom, this is Moore, this is Hosa, this is Hosa. That is his gravel driveway. This is the Freedom School District. So this gravel lane is that gravel lane there. So that's how close he is to Feasel. The school building looks like.
This is where Feasel makes that turn.
Yeah,
This
yeah.
is Feasel.
Yep.
So right off of that bend is the gravel.
This asphalt lane, yes. And then the gravel driveway cuts off. This is the phase line.
eliminating this one.
Yeah. So how far would the proposed new property line be to your septic field?
I made sure of that, it's about 15 feet.
15?
Yeah, that's what he said it had to be like, he said it had to be 10? 10, so I made it longer.
Sorry,
You're saying
clarify, who is he?
The
survey.
surveyor
Surveyor.
had said it had to be.
You're saying this is 15
Did
feet?
Jeff Winkle reach out to you yet?
That's what he just said.
He's our
yeah.
sewage enforcement officer. He said he's going to have to check the septic, which is normal, but
Is
he's
it
supposed to reach out to
a
you.
sand mound or just an in-the-ground drain field?
It's, yeah, leach bed. Yeah, it's,
In the ground.
yeah, it's in the ground.
And what's the square footage of the buildings on that property?
30 by 30 is the house, and 24 by 40 is the, well, the second house, I guess. Technically, they have them down as two houses.
On that 1.3 acres, what's the wood frame garage?
It's, I believe, 24 by 40.
24 by 40.
Yeah, that's, like I said, they say it's, I have it as a garage, but they classify it as a second house on my taxes anyway.
The reason he's bringing that up, something you may want to consider. We have building square footage restrictions on any given lot. So if in the future you wanted to put a building up, this might be a negative thing to do.
I'm not gonna put any, and if I do, I'm selling the upper property and we're moving to the farm. So, yeah, I'm not gonna be putting any more structures up on the upper part.
Is there a reason why you're going from the 30-foot right of way across the top of the drawing to a 20-foot?
I feel I didn't need 30. I just, like I said, I just wanted, we've lived that way for the 30-foot right of way for
Yeah,
almost 30 years. So, I mean, it's not like, I just, once I sell it, I don't need a 30-foot right of way.
yeah.
So I shrunk it down to 20-foot. I figured as long as I have enough room and utility has enough room to get in there, they don't need and I don't need a 30-foot right of way. So I shrunk it down to 20.
Well, the only utility that's there is the electric rate overhead
For,
on that right of way.
yeah, electric goes down, well,
And that-
yeah, it's just the electric line that goes down there. I just had to think for a minute.
And that falls within the 20-foot that you're proposing, it's within 20 foot of the property line.
No, the poles clear out on the corner by the blacktop. It was put in there,
Oh, is it underground?
it's underground.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's underground.
Okay.
So that 20-foot right-of-way that you're creating, you're not planning on that being a road or access to track one?
Well, I am.
You are.
I do want it to be a road. It's gonna be utility because I have to, like I said, it's a long way in the winter. It's almost it's at least a half a mile for me to get from the house down to Love Isle Road, through the woods and over the hill and down to there. I mean, it's a long way.
I would
So,
agree,
in
it
the
looks like a
winter-
mile to me, and it's all uphill.
Yeah, well, it's a long way. But anyway, I don't want it as a road all the time, but I do need it as a road. I need it to be able to.
Well, I think it would be normal for us to want that to be a 50-foot right of way
Oh, yeah.
as a new access to,
50 foot would put
Track
it against
one.
the house.
well, it looks like that, yes.
Yeah, I just want it as an access that I can use to get in and out. I don't wanna put it against the house. And it was a 30 foot before. The old, I just shrunk it. The old way of being there, it's a 30 foot right of way, and it's been that way for, I don't know, 25, 30 years. The last time we had it surveyed.
Wouldn't he have to have an agreement
I actually thought it was
for this
making it nice for the
ingress, egress for use in case someday he sells off the farm, which is what he's suggesting he might do.
I'm not gonna sell
He's
the
selling it
farm.
the other way around. He's
He
gonna
might sell this off and not the farm.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm keeping the farm. That's where we're going, so. Well, he understands why.
So the
That's-
problem
We're gonna
is-
call it the farm.
What I see as the problem is what the future holds when you sell one or the other.
Yeah.
And
Well-
there's, currently you're suggesting you'll have egress.
Well, if I didn't change anything at all, I'd still have a 30 foot egress. I already have a 30 foot egress to the back.
So what I would suggest is that you have an agreement that when you sell it off, you don't want that egress
I
there.
do want the egress.
You do want it.
Yeah, I do want it.
But how would you sell that off?
Well, I'd
It's
sell it
only
off as a road. It's still a road like any other. It's a driveway. I don't want an actual freeway. I just want a road.
If
For
we
me,
would
a
look at
driveway.
it-
I want a driveway to get out. That's all I want. And it has to be a utility easement anyway, because it's underground. It's electrical underground, goes from that pole all the way back to property.
Yeah, that would normally only require 10 foot.
Yeah, well,
In this case, what we would be looking at in the future, say you do sell it, that you wouldn't have any disputes. So to eliminate any potential dispute, you would have to have an agreement that says whoever would buy that property has to allow you to
well, yeah, that's why.
get in and out.
I figured if it was already on the deed, it's already part of the deed. I mean, that's why I wanted it in the,
Yeah, but that doesn't necessarily say it's.
well, we would
Allowed
make
to
sure,
use
if I sold it, I would make sure they understood that there was a road there anyway.
So, I'm sorry, are we talking about a property that would be landlocked if this wasn't provided to it, if the road wouldn't be provided to it? It's just an additional,
It's not landlocked, it's
No.
just an easier way to get to it.
it's just an additional way to access this property. So, yeah, if you wanted that to perpetuate to a different property owner, the best way to do it would be, like Al's saying, to record something with the county on top of your deed or on top of the plan, to make sure that access was perpetual. Having it marked out on a plan is one way to do it, but I think to ensure that that type of a thing is carried through and that people, not everyone's always reading their deeds as closely or like pulling the plans and looking at the plans when they buy property, so it's good to have it, so when you pull a title report, it's its own separate document on the title report.
All right, so we would just do that at the courthouse.
Yeah, you could just put draft something together short. You could probably find something online, to be honest with you.
All right.
And just record it as
We
its
were
own
gonna
thing.
we were gonna make sure when we sold it, that was part, I mean, it was gonna be worded that there was a road there.
Well, this
But
would
we
be
can
the
we
time-
can do that extra step, that's not a big deal.
This would be the time to do it.
Okay.
So, and we can approve it at the same time. One, you mark it on here for future use if the properties are sold. And the other one is to record the comment on a document that says you always have access through that right away.
All right.
So that's number two. Number one, I think the Moore property needs to be shown on here with where the line is.
Yeah, I don't know why he didn't put the Morse.
And the,
I assumed that because it was back, it wasn't actually connecting, it's behind my property, between the two properties, I just don't think he added it because it's
But we need more property on here with the tax number.
Okay.
We need to comment on this right of way that in case you sell it, the right of way's on there and that there's an agreement on the deed that when you sell it, that you have access through that right of way
All right.
to track 1.
You need any comment from the sewage enforcement officer or anything?
Say again?
Do you need any comments from the sewage enforcement officer?
I don't see why it's not intruding on the septic system. But I'm saying, I don't think,
Jeff told me, because I sent him all the plans, and he told me that he was going to have to, test it, because he's making the property smaller.
I
But
wouldn't
he hasn't
require
reached out
that.
to him yet.
You know, my opinion would be, he does not have to do that, but for something in there, he says he has to, I guess he can do it. I don't think he has to. It's not like he's moving a line on top of the system there. My opinion. Anybody else have any comments?
So we'd be able to approve this contingent upon the sewage enforcement officer's report.
Do you need to approve a pre-application? Or is this meeting just intended to provide feedback on the application?
We were gonna pass it all the way through.
Well, I didn't think we were going to, but if he agrees to do the dedication letter for the right to use the egress, add the more property on there with the proper tax thing. If you wanna add something for the SEO, I personally don't think it's needed, but one of you think it is, then add that as well.
To add the county comment too.
I think the sewage enforcement thing needs to be done because, just to make sure that leach field's staying on that property.
Yes, I made sure the line, I understand, but I
I
made sure
know.
the line was away.
I've seen a lot of properties.
Do you think it's a leach field or is
I
it
know it's a
sand
leach
mine?
field. I put it in.
Oh, you put it in?
Yeah, and I had it, it was inspected.
So you know what the issue is, and he's gonna say, where is the leach field?
I know right where it is.
And you
Yeah,
think it's,
Yeah, I had him mark it when he marked the spot on there where it is, on that one. But it's
doesn't it all go past the line? that you put
absolutely
on?
not. I made sure it was at least 15 feet away. Yeah, well, it kept coming up. If I would have been closer, I actually judged where I separated by the leach bed.
You talked to him, he asked to do it, so
Yes.
add that to it with need a letter from the SEO that the septic system is, okay after his inspection.
I put the one in down back too.
Did anyone see anything else? Is it clean and green? Are you clean and green?
No, but we're gonna look into that. That's what, we didn't do it yet. We just changed over. The title was, to our the back property had just been done. Like my dad died a year ago, so it had to go through probate, so the title was just, it is now ours to the back, but we're looking into that, clean and green.
So it's a question. And you're
Well,
looking-
the woman's definitely told us, we did stop and talk to her, and she said it's definitely, can be clean and green, it's big enough and it's definitely, you know.
Okay, so you got those 4 things in?
And did you put the county comments, they'll review the
Contingent on
number.
the county comment. Would have to do the checklist if we're gonna agree to move it. Comments? Okay, we need a motion to move this with the 4 contingencies on it. And when, after we do the motion, we'll do the checklist. Or you wanna do the checklist first? We'll do the checklist first, go ahead.
All right, name and address of property owners,
Yes,
name and
Yeah.
address of surveyor,
yes,
Yes,
title block,
yes,
highway occupancy permit notification.
not needed,
And development restrictions under clean and green.
it's a contingency.
that's a contingent.
Site location map,
Yep.
lots or parcels are numbered or lettered.
Yes, with that. true
All
condition.
except the one, there's a contingency on more property.
Tax parcel numbers for divided and adjacent properties.
It looks like they're all there with the exception of the more property.
Names adjacent property owners now or formerly owned by.
Yes, I think they're all in there.
Except more.
Moore's not on there, and, there's 2 checks. Yeah, but is it on there? Yeah, I don't see, your name on there. Okay, yeah, okay, cool.
To be retained, to be conveyed on each lot.
Yeah.
State road, is that state road?
Date,
There could be
No
some
rides on
additional
there.
wording on that
Yeah,
up here. Yeah.
Township road, it's not township. Is it township?
it's on, that's not on.
That's one thing we should probably require engineers to do is, to be conveyed, you know, this is pretty confusing the way this is.
This should be.
We call this, we label this as a parcel, but he calls it parcel 1. Parcel 1 to be conveyed to, tract. Some wording to that effect.
yeah, parcel 1
To be conveyed.
needs to say to be conveyed to track 1. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess they throw the roads on there.
Yeah, they seem to
No.
go.
No, okay.
Okay.
I don't know if, this asphalt lane should go all the ways out to Feast.
That's what it should say.
Yeah.
Parcel 1 should.
That's where it's going, right?
Feasel,
Tract.
Feasel goes all the way back, it's asphalt from the main road all the way back to the last house.
Yeah, I'm just saying it probably should say that this asphalt lane goes all the ways out to Feast.
Okay, so is there a private road right away name indicated? Does that have to be on this?
No, there's only 3 houses. The private land has no,
Nope,
Family
just
name.
3, 1, 2, 3.
Okay, floodplain area. Lots comply with subdivision regulations.
Yeah.
Lots comply with zoning regulations.
Well, wait, does it? Cause there's, it says here existing non-conformance, 150 foot. Is that a non-conformance? Then?
Yeah, the lot is only 113 wide. We're saying the lot has to be 150 feet wide.
What exists like that today,
Yeah.
and it's not being, the non-conformance is not being increased. So we call that a continuation of a permitted non-conformance.
Continuation of a non-conforming,
Okay, So it's kind of yes.
So yes.
Yeah.
Building setback lines.
Yeah.
Location, existing buildings, pools, etc.
Yes.
Size and width of property and lots.
Yes.
Road frontage, 150 or 100 feet with public.
That's the one we were just talking about.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, right, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So planning module needed.
No.
North arrow and scale.
Yeah.
Date of original and all recorded.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, public water, no. Public sewer, no. Utility easements. Yes.
Yeah, it'd be on there, yes.
Contour.
Not additional, there's no utilities going across track one, is there?
Yep. All the same one that goes all the way back.
No new.
No new.
No.
Contour inner poles.
Yep.
Closure counts. Yeah, you
Yes,
got those.
no, this is not, that's not the closure.
That's on a piece of paper, you all
There
got,
was a
right?
separate paper.
Yeah.
There's a separate,
Yeah.
Separate paperwork, closure,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, map at 100 scale or less.
Yes,
Okay, the acknowledgements, property owners adoption. Registered surveyor, PA certified,
yes.
Yeah.
engineer.
shoot,
Yeah. Yeah.
he's surveyor and
Well, there's the thing over here.
Yeah. Glenn Smith is on.
For us, yeah, the township.
Yeah, there's something here too.
Okay. Township Planning Commission,
Yep.
Yeah.
Beaver County Planning Commission with updated statement.
Yes.
Beaver County Recorder of Deeds
Yes.
and Board of Supervisors.
Yes.
Okay. Any comments besides your comment? Any other comments?
so we need a motion for cover those 4 contingencies.
We have add the Moore property, the Moore property line needs to be shown with the tax parcel added. Need a comment on right of way and agreements on deed when, on there, and then a separate paper, right? Add county comments and add SEO comments.
This,
SEO. Anything else?
I don't think so.
To be conveyed,
We can, okay.
parcel one to be, they track one,
Parcel number 1 to be conveyed to track 1.
track number.
Track number 1, okay. All right.
Okay, we need a motion, who's gonna make it? It's 5. Ed,
I'll take a stab at it. I'll make a motion that we forward the plan, recommend approval to the supervisors based on contingent upon the 5 issues. Number 1 being the Moore property being shown, a right-of-way agreement being recorded, shown on the deed, attached to the deed. Beaver County, favorable Beaver County comments, favorable SEO comments, and the addition of the parcel conveyance information being shown on the plan.
okay, we have a motion, we need a second,
I'll second it.
second by Chris. Any questions? We missed anything? Motion made in second with no questions, all in favor, signify by saying aye. Noes? Okay. We'll move it on once you get all of the additional information on.
All right.
Okay?
Yep.
Just a question, is he coming out just to check the distance for the leach pad, or is he actually checking the leach pad?
I think he actually will check it if it's working.
All right, I just wanted to make sure. I didn't know which one.
We'll have him get in contact with you.
All right.
Because if it's not working, you'll probably deny it, because you have to relocate it somewhere else. Get you a working subject. They don't wanna give property away if it's, if you need it.
Leave it the way it is, if it goes to that point. I didn't think it was gonna be moving a line, I didn't think it was gonna be that big of a deal.
You're,
Yeah,
Try to cover all the potential issues,
yeah.
so it's not a problem in the future.
Oh, it's been 30 years and there hasn't been a problem. I just didn't think it was gonna be a problem moving a line.
Okay, we don't have any preliminary plans, we got old business. Meadowcrest Land Development. Final and subdivision phase 1. The last time we met, I believe it was October 2nd, we met with the developer in a workshop. And the developer agreed with all the issues proposed by LSS. The only thing we could not resolve was the extension of the water line to the Butler County line. The developer states that he's not responsible to extend that line to the Butler County line. And it wasn't on the tentative approval plan. And he says that as long as there's a appeal against the development, he will not run that line. I tried several times to convince him to do it. He refused that. Stuck to the issue of not being on a tentative approval plan. And the last statement that was made at that, there was 2 statements made at the end of the meeting. Ms. Dingle stated that the people on Klein Road wanted water, and that they were not against the development. Unfortunately, there's an appeal, not an appeal, there's a suit against Meadowcrest, against the development. So, we have to decide tonight to not extend the line, or to extend the line, against the developer's concerns. So that's where we stand right now, and we do have to move this tonight because the developer gave us an extension to November the 5th to approve it. So I'm saying we should approve it. I know there's some different opinions on the other members here. So we have to make a decision of how to move forward. So if any of you have a concern, I want you to express it at this point. And we need a motion to approve the plan with or without the extension of the water.
May I make a statement?
You're the attorney for
I'm the attorney, Brenda
Meadowcrest?
Se- yes, I am.
Brenda, I believe your name is?
Brenda Sebring.
Brenda. Yeah, you can make a statement. We're talking about Meadowcrest right now.
I just wanted to express the position of my client is that my client is willing to do this water line extension. My client is not willing to do the water line extension as a part of the land development approval. However, my client welcomes negotiations with Laura Dangle and her representatives that we will agree to do the water line extension, provided that the current appeal is withdrawn, the DEP appeal is withdrawn, and the interested aggrieved parties who may have standing in a future appeal also withdraw. So the legal position is it was not a part of the tentative approval conditions. In addition, the legal position is that the township does not have the right legal authority under the MPC to require the installation of off-site improvements that do not serve this development. So there's also a legal position, notwithstanding the fact that there was no condition in the tentative approval. But nonetheless, we are willing to work with Laura Dangle, we're willing to work with the other property owners, but we are not installing the water line and having to defend these various appeals. Thank you.
Good. Ms. Dingle, do you have any comments? Because you did at the last meeting. You said you wanted the water.
Our attorneys have been contacted. They've been informed as to the negotiations. And if the applicant's counsel chooses to reach out to our attorney, then the negotiations can be discussed amongst the two counsels. We're both represented. I have no comment to make.
I am willing
No,
to do
no
that,
comment.
provided I'm given the contact information.
You have the contact information.
Well,
It's
I'm
in the
not
appeal.
sure which attorney is
I
representing.
can give it to you.
Okay, thank you.
What do you want to say?
I just want to say that why are the appeals there? Does the board know why the appeals are there for the zoning?
You're Mrs. Dingle.
I am. I'm
Yes,
Linda
I-
Dangle. I live on
You look
425
like you
Klein
look
Road.
familiar, but I wanted to make sure.
Yeah. I live on Klein Road. We would like water. We would like to, these appeals that are there are because
Land use.
the land use. And so that's why we want the board to reconsider this because of the land use. There is there's more things to be thought through before we give approval.
Well, I'll answer that. And, I hear what Brenda's saying. I hear what Laura said.
Right.
But your name is actually on the suit.
Correct. And I really don't have any more comments. We
Okay,
have attorneys.
We'll leave it at that.
Okay, thank
I'll
you.
make the comment that
Okay.
The planning commission feels that the applicant, Meadowcrest, Weaver Homes, I guess should be stated, fully met all the criteria of the development. They've negotiated back and forth with us, and I feel they've met all of the issues along with our engineer, who has stated every issue that concerning our zoning ordinance. So I want the planning commission to move the plan forward. I don't know if we can do a contingency based on attorneys working out any details. I don't know, I have to ask our solicitor that. How would we move forward? They're making a proposal.
No, I will not agree, I will not agree, or my client will not agree, that this water line extension be any part of the township proceeding, for the two reasons. It's it's not authorized under the MPC, because it's an off-site improvement and it doesn't even benefit this project, and it was not a condition of our tentative approval.
And I think that what I heard you say is you're willing to work with the attorney on the appeal. And if you can work that out, you will extend the line.
I'm not working on the appeal. The opposition has to choose between their land use objections and the water line. It's very simple.
Well, I'm trying to state how simple it is, but I must be using the wrong word, so that's why
I just don't want to intertwine the appeal and the water line.
Maybe I can ask our solicitor, can we do something contingent upon that discussion or not? It sounds like the developer wants to work with the attorney for the appeal.
So
how do we?
I generally would advise against making township decisions based on the negotiations of third parties over which it has no control. So that's my general advice on that matter. So
How do we go forward?
So the options are to recommend to the Board of Supervisors denial of the plan if this is like a major issue for this board. Recommend approval contingent on the line being in place, or recommend approval contingent upon the outstanding items that have already been conditions from the tentative approval, not including that particular item. And I would imagine that if you chose the second of those three options, there would be some opposition from the developer, as their counsel has made clear.
It sounds like to me, based on what you said and the development's attorney, that we should approve the plan without the extension of the water line.
That's what I would recommend, but it's within the purview of this board to make that determination.
That's where we're at.
Yeah, so I mean, you have my like legal recommendation on this particular issue. What this board recommends to the Board of Supervisors is not the be-all, end-all. The Board of Supervisors can add or subtract conditions or modifications at the time that it makes their vote, not to put too much pressure on our chairman in the audience.
Well,
but what this board recommends is still a working, I guess, sort of perspective for the Board of Supervisors. It's not something that's the Board of Supervisors has to do.
My approach was not to add any additional pressure on the supervisors. Mm-hmm. We have a responsibility. We have reviewed the plans. We have reviewed this thing for probably 6 months now. Mm-hmm. And we feel that the developer has agreed to all of the issues that we brought up.
So, from a legal perspective, if the developer is complying with the ordinance, then the MPC and the ordinance would have this board likely recommend approval, based on, resolving any issues stemming from the ordinance or the MPC. The particular issue that we're discussing right now is not based on an ordinance requirement. So it's not like they're not satisfying an ordinance requirement. That being said, I understand it was, part of discussions that this board has had, stemming back to before my time here even, with the township. And, that can be taken into consideration as well. I cannot basically tell you one way or the other what the right decision is for you, aside from the fact that when you look at the law, they're complying with the law.
I'm not sure how we could have had it in the tentative approval when we didn't see where the line was actually sitting until sometime after that. Like, the approval and the conditions were based on a false pretense. Like, I thought, I mean, it's in our February minutes, us discussing this, but I can find nowhere documented what the resolution was. So, none of us saw where that water line was until we got the final plans. Right? Or, I mean, no, please correct me if you're wrong, but that's the first time I remember seeing
Well,
it.
may I state
Yeah.
that it wouldn't matter where that water line was. It is not serving the development. It's
No, I
not
agree.
on our
I mean, yes, you have a valid point. He is abiding by all our ordinances, and I would find that I'd be hard pressed to say no to that for that. But I just remember having those conversations, and at the time of tentative approval, like I thought that was happening.
May I say this, is that we have shown our good faith.
No doubt.
I am here in a public meeting. I am stating on behalf of my client, if those appeals are dropped, the water line will be installed. We have reached out 4 times to Laura. She has not responded. And I can only think because she wanted to make this statement at this meeting, which is maybe unfair of me, but I can also say that doesn't take away from our good faith and our efforts to do this and me making these statements in public.
Yeah,
I'm making these statements in front of all of you.
Yeah.
And they're recorded.
I have not been contacted 4 times. I do not have 4 records of point of contact.
Emails and your phone calls.
I do not, ma'am.
I'm not going to argue about it.
Good faith, if you're speaking in good faith, then you'll provide them with the evidence of 4 documents.
No, I said 2 phone calls and 2 emails.
So I appreciate this exchange, but just to keep everybody on track, this is time for the board to have deliberation. So if we could just redirect our attention to the deliberations of the board, that would be appreciated.
Yeah, I think we have to move on in whatever the final thoughts of these 7 members is all I should be concerned with. I think the developer has done everything we've asked them to do. They meet all of our ordinances. It's a good plan. And we have to move to approve it and move on. If there's any questions, this is the time to bring them up. Any questions? Then we need a motion.
I'll make that motion.
Go ahead.
I'll make a motion to recommend final approval of the Meadowcrest planned residential development with the conditions and modifications as set forth in the October 17th, 2024 letter from the solicitor.
And I think the board has copies of that letter.
We actually have, you gave us all copies. And I've read it numerous times before tonight. Get this stuff at that. Yeah, so that's everything. I read it today. Okay, we have a motion. I need a second.
I'll second that, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Gary seconded the motion that Jennifer gave. Questions on the motion? You all have in front of you the October 17th letter from the solicitor. There being no questions, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Noes? Ayes have it. We move on. For us, the planning commission, we should not have to see this plan again.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, you'll see some subdivision applications down the road.
We're in a good moment.
Good developer, there's probably not gonna be any. Okay. Thank you all. Conditional use submissions, we have none. Ordinance review, we have none. Educational programs, Alex is gonna give us one of these days. Discussion, anybody want to discuss anything tonight? No discussions? Closing comments, I thank you all for your long hours of reviewing this development. And it did take a lot of hours and a lot of phone calls back and forth. So, thanks for your time. Any other closing comments from anyone? There being none, we need to, motion to adjourn.
I'll make the motion.
Motion made and second, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those, thank you all.